So, good morning.
Good morning, Peggy.
How are you?
I am doing good. It's been kind of a crazy week, though. It's nice to have a Sunday morning drink with a good friend.
Yes.
Cheers.
Chin chin. Good morning.
So I decided to pimp up our mimosas today. I picked a pomegranate from our tree outside and put this
Mm.
as an extra goodie.
Ooh. And mine is just a rosé, very simple, very plain, but very delicious.
There you go. Crisp and clean is sometimes the best way to go. So I'm just going to go into the Facebook event,
Oh yeah. Are you checking if we have
but
any
comment.
guests already?
Yeah, give me just a second to get it open on my phone here. Here
Yep.
we go. Good
Okay.
morning, Natalie. I see you there.
Oh, good morning, Natalie. Hello.
Tree outside. Oops. Turn the sound off there. Oh, it's been a crazy week, Peggy. The semester started.
Oh yeah.
Natalie, I know you've been doing lots of learning lately, and so I started the semester with my new students this last week, and so getting all the lectures ready and trying to get to know new people in an online situation. This is the first time that I've had to have a new group online, and I know you've done a lot of that lately, Peggy, with your trainings, right?
Yes, it's basically everything is online, which in the beginning, we talked about it before, it was kind of strange, but now it seems like we're getting used to it. At least I am finally.
Well, and
And
I have to. I mean, I don't see it changing anytime soon.
no, no, no. So that's all, what I hear from everyone is that, and in a way, it's now because now we are used to looking at this camera faces, and it's starting to get much more comfortable. And it's convenient. We're not really in a traffic jam in the morning when we have to start a live session at like 8:30 when everybody's on the road.
That's true.
So that's quite good. But yeah. So did you also watch that social dilemma thing on Netflix?
I did. I did. I have to say, it was, and I saw you shared it yesterday on Facebook.
Yes.
Anybody online, have you seen Social Dilemma yet? Something to think about. If you haven't watched it, it's worth watching.
Yes.
And it's hard for me to say because I like social media. I
Me
mean, I
too.
see a lot of good things about it, right? And we use it. We use it for our business.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That was really hard. I mean, it's like you said, so we use it and I love it, and actually I'm out there since years. Like I was an early adopter, let's say. So I started pretty early. My kids were on it very early, and now when I watched the show on Netflix, it's like there is this dark side of it, which we heard about it and all this social mobbing and all of that stuff going on. But then I think there is always like well, of course there is always two sides to it, and it has done so many good things. So I found friends that I hadn't seen when I used to live in the US. I haven't seen or heard for like 20 years, and then you find them through social media.
Well, and
So
that's what I live halfway around the planet from my family. And so I've always used it a lot to stay in touch with my family. And I think, and I like the way that they did the movie because it becomes very clear that there's never any malice involved. There was no malintent in what it's become.
yeah.
But then the takeaway is that so many of us have let social media control us instead of us controlling the social media that we're using, right? And so it's like, yeah, there's something to be said for deleting your social media accounts, but I won't do it because I need them and I want them. And so how can you just be more conscious about how you use it? And I find, did you watch the end when the credits started rolling? They actually had some recommendations, because I've talked to some people and they didn't even see these recommendations at the end because it was after the credits were rolling. And
Yeah.
they had some good ones, like, never watch a recommended video because the recommended video might be crap based on other things that you've watched and disinformation.
Yeah.
And in this age of misinformation, we all want to avoid that. And so actively go out and find the things that are worth watching and don't just jump onto anything that pops up on your screen.
Yes, I told yes, and I think it's a lot about taking responsibility and not just consuming stuff. And I think that's not only within social media, that's in everything. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all about marketing. Companies want to sell products, and so whether or not we're looking at a magazine where they have these amazing products that they are, or whatever, telling you that you're going to be more beautiful or that you're more healthy. I mean, it's about self-control. I mean, just research if you're not sure, and just don't consume everything. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a big
That's the
part.
scary thing about the social media, right? Is it's all computers in the background controlling what shows up on your screen. And they know what you like, and they know what's gonna trigger you to respond. And their
Yeah.
goal is to keep you there as long as possible. And so I think you're right. It's about self-control. And I liked, what was it in the movie that there was a quote, the only two industries on the planet that talk about their customers as users are illegal drugs and software. Yeah, exactly. We're all users, we're all addicts. And part of it is because it does cool stuff in our brains, right? This chemical response, dopamine. Every time we get a pop-up on our phone, we get this little shot of dopamine. And so we really are drug addicts when we're responding to the social media stuff all the time. And so
Yeah.
sometimes put your phone away, don't look at it. And then when you do look, find the things, actively look at the things you want to look at. And like you said, don't just consume everything that comes across the screen.
Yeah. And then I think, well, I'm into this animal safe, safe animals, and so I posted a lot on Facebook like yesterday, and then I thought, because I watched, I rewatched Social Dilemma again this morning, and then I really thought about it before we got on this call. Is so there are these two things. One thing is I use Facebook also to post things that like I feel strong about it. And then I'm thinking, well, how could I do this if I didn't have social media? Of course, also there you have to always be careful in what you distribute via those channels. But still, there is a lot of things going on. Like in here near my little hometown, there was this really bad thing about animals, and so they finally found out. And then you can really spread the news and like put some awareness out there and ask people to just rethink it. And if I didn't have that opportunity via social media, how could I do it? Would I have to run around from home to home, or what do I do? Or go on the radio? So,
And that's what, and I think that's important to really recognize the good that social media can do,
yeah.
while being conscious of the potential dark side behind it,
Yeah, exactly. It's both ways. It's
yeah,
always.
exactly. Oh, hi, Stephanie. Good morning. Hi, Achim. Nice to have you here. So funny story. Achim, thank you very much. A couple of weeks ago, he came on to our live event and he shared it to a bunch of Facebook groups he was in, which was awesome because we got lots of exposure. The downside of that is that one of the groups has very, very strict no advertising, and they kicked him out of the group.
Oh,
Love when you guys share our videos and share our posts and our messages and everything else. And so please keep doing that where you can and where it's appropriate. We do appreciate it.
yeah. Well, we don't want you to suffer from reposting our advertisement. Well, we're not really making advertisements.
No, we're trying to do something good, right? We want to share
Exactly.
that help people get through their day and help them make more out of life. And it was funny. I was introducing myself to my new class of students, and on my intro slide, I say all the different things that I've done and what I do. And I said, and since the quarantine, I've become a podcast creator.
Yes.
And one of the students says, "Oh, what kind of a podcast?" I was like, "I'm glad you asked." So it's
So,
experience, empower, and enhance your life and the world around you. I was listening to Spotify this morning, and there's a song that I heard, and I didn't listen to all the lyrics. I think it's called Bigger Than. And I liked what I heard because it was talking about, I want to be bigger than the things I have. Something like, I want to leave a story behind me. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I need to look up the lyrics and see, maybe that's something we want to go into at one
oh
point.
yeah, sounds interesting.
Um,
So,
Are people aware of the dark side of social media? Well, that's what we've been talking about because we watched The Social Dilemma recently. Are you aware of the dark side? People on the phone? Go ahead and comment. And by the way, while we're talking, because sometimes we see the comments late, I'd love to have you guys commenting on each other's posts online while we're going, and then we'll pick up when we get to it.
yeah, and if you are aware of the dark side, how do you cope with it? The dark side of social media. So what can you do yourself to also to like prevent yourself in kind of ending up there?
Exactly. If you're online, that would be a great thing. We would love to get your input. What are your tips for using social media in a responsible way and not getting sucked into kind of this dark side of it, if you will? How do you prevent
Yeah, and I also think it's like that's what I thought about this morning, to say that there's always the good and the bad side, to like write on a piece of paper, like on a T form. On the left side, you just write all the good things, and then on the right side, you write the bad things, and then to see what is it? Yeah, what's the comparison? Is it more good or is it more bad from your own perception?
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. So how about COVID fatigue? How are you doing? How's everybody online? What are you doing
Yeah.
with the coronavirus fatigue? Are you still staying upbeat, or it's been kind of a turmoil of a couple of days, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah, especially, well, now they're saying it's the Fallzahlen, I just don't know how in English right now, are rising again in Germany, and so we have like individual areas that can make their own decisions whether or not they're going to shut down a little bit. So the whole economy is not going to be shut down in Germany. That's what they said. But like meeting people in large groups, so it might be reduced again to like 20 people. And what I found though is that at first, well, to not meet anybody anymore, it was kind of hard, and not hugging and kissing. But meanwhile, I'm kind of happy that I don't have to hug and kiss everybody.
Why is that? Explain that.
Because to me, actually, well, when it first started, it was, I don't even remember. I think I came back from the US at that time when, and it started here, that everybody started kissing, and you kind of felt like you had to kiss hello people that you didn't even know, and that maybe you didn't want to, but you would be very unpolite if you didn't. So I found, now that I'm getting used to it, I found it very relaxing. It's not so
Private space
it's
again.
more private space, yeah. And I don't know if it's good or bad, but for me personally, it feels actually better. So I hope I didn't say anything that was, but yeah, I don't know. How about you, Jamie? How do you feel about this? That we don't kiss everybody anymore.
I miss that because I've always been kind of a touchy-feely kind of person. And so, my natural response when I see somebody is go up and give them a big hug. And I think that's an American cultural thing as well. Um, I tend to forget the situation if I'm not careful. And that's what, on the one hand, I think that too many people aren't taking it seriously, and it is a super serious situation. I find when I'm in the wrong environment, though, that I tend to forget about it. And so we were hiking yesterday, and came across some people that were asking a question about the way to go. And I just went over to the guy. I was like, oh, let me show you on my map on my phone. And I'm standing like right next to him. And after I walked away, I was like, ooh, this is like a complete stranger. I have no idea who he's had. Really bad thing to do, right? Which is why, especially here in Mallorca, there's a lot of controversy about clubs not being able to open up, and people having to wear masks everywhere they are. As soon as you leave the house, you put a mask on and stuff like that. But I actually personally think it's a good thing, because it helps you remember and be conscious of the fact that we need to be taking this seriously. If people are out in clubs and drinking and stuff, then they forget it, just like I did hiking yesterday,
I
right?
mean,
And
yeah, sure.
in the way that you interact. And so you miss
Yeah.
the interaction. But for myself personally, being isolated helps me be responsible, simply because it provides a check on the way that I interact with people. And so I think I'm having to really consciously look more for how do I connect with people online and on the phone, because I don't like talking on the phone at all. I've always hated talking on the phone. And now I find I have to get over that self-imposed obstacle, if you will, and just call people up so that I can stay in touch more.
Yeah, but you have, oh well, you can see yourself on the phone. I mean, you can do like Zoom on the phone, or WhatsApp,
And that helps.
FaceTime.
Really.
That's,
My son's renovating an apartment, and he called me up, with a face call the other day and gave me a tour through his apartment. And that's awesome, because it's
yeah.
not a phone conversation anymore. It's somewhere in between. So yeah, looking for that. I just see that Achim has posted in the chat, don't take social media as a source for objective information. Man, that is certainly true in Corona times, right? The number,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
the stuff
So
that
personal. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. Fake news, all over fake news.
well, and the thing that I find funny is that some of these YouTube videos and stuff of people who are pretending to be doctors, you all kinds of off the wall advice. And I can't even watch some of them because it's so ridiculous. But then in the first 5 minutes, I try to force myself to watch, and they say 8 times, share this with everyone you know. Share this with everyone you know. It's like, that's got to be a clue that this is not real information. But it's on social media.
Yeah, yeah, there are a lot of those guys and girls out there that do that. But well, it's this about your self-presentation also. I mean, it's an opportunity. If you've never been famous, you can try and be famous online. So nobody really checks where you come from or what you know and what your qualifications are to make some comments. So it's really all about your self-marketing, your self-branding, and how you present yourself behind a screen. And but then again, it's about the listener, like you said. I think we are probably up to have to learn from watching people online, maybe to start feel that what is it that they're saying. Normally we have this interaction in person and you kind of feel it. So now we have to try and feel it through through the screen and listen to what they say.
And then do your own check. Just don't take it and listen to it and say, oh, that's good information, without looking at a secondary or a third source, and look at where it's coming from. And Akim's point, most of it's not objective information. Most of it has a spin. And so if you watch things recognizing that, then I think that makes a difference too. You just stay more alert to what it is that you're exposing yourself to. But what about staying upbeat? So, I mean, I find that this is one of the things people I talk to are feeling kind of, drugged down, the drudgery of life these days. I'm stuck in my home. I can't do the things I used to do. Can't go dancing, right, Natalie? I love to go dancing. And Natalie and I say, someday
we can dance here. No, true. Yeah.
What is it that you do then to stay positive and stay upbeat? I mean, I know yesterday for me, it was a big one. We had a storm here on the island on Friday. And so I pretty much said, okay, weekend is going to be a work weekend. We're not going to be able to go out. And then yesterday, suddenly the wind stopped. And I was like, oh my gosh, we've got to grab this opportunity, and headed out into the mountains and just spontaneously went and did this hike. And it lifted my spirits 1,000%. Being outside in nature, where you can just enjoy the world and not have to think about all of this stuff that we're dealing with at the moment. And so, for me, that was a learning. I need to make a point to give myself a break from all this stuff and just go do something that I enjoy and get out in nature and, see some beauty of the planet again. What about you? What are you doing to stay positive?
I do too. I go out. Well, I have my little dog, my little Pomeranian crazy girl. And so with her, I have to go out anyway, even if the weather is bad. So that's one good thing. And yesterday here too as well. The weather at first was really crappy. It was raining and storming. And then at like 4:30, all of a sudden, the sun came out. And like right now, I'm sitting in a sunny living room. So I'm going to go out after our talk as well. And then I just go out and go for a walk. And sometimes I just sit down on a little bench and just enjoy, because it's now that it's fall and the leaves are turning brown. It's so pretty, and just enjoying being around and being healthy. I'm happy to be healthy, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So many people who are suffering health consequences at the moment. And so yeah, that's a big one. That's probably the biggest one.
And that's, like you said, do something that makes you happy, is to take care of your soul. And when you feel good inside, I think that strengthens your immune system also, can help.
For sure.
Instead of just eating onions, or I know these things were going around also on social media, so you have to eat lots of onions. At least in Germany, they said that. Eat lots of onions. And go outside, definitely.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's general healthy eating. I mean, maintaining overall health, exercise, movement, being close to nature, and then the other thing, so I've talked about it before. By the way, for everybody listening, if you haven't heard about the science of well-being, this is a really awesome course that you can attend from Yale University. And it's online, and you can do it for free on Coursera. And I have taken so much out of that. And one of the things that they talk about is one of the things that helps people feel really good is this concept of flow. And so, very often it's easy to just say, oh, I'm just going to pour myself a drink and sit in front of Netflix. But actually, that never makes you feel better.
No.
Right? It actually perpetuates kind of this inertia. And they say what really makes people better is flow. And so doing something that you're passionate about, that you get into the flow where you can't stop, you don't want to stop, you kind of forget everything around you. And then once you get it to whatever conclusion it needs to get to, you're completely boosted. and feeling really good about life in general. And so I think that's the other thing, is that really looking for where are the things I can do that I get this flow going, that's going to give me that boost and that euphoria again.
Yeah, and like you said, it's for free even. I actually attended some classes too when you sent that link to me some while back. And also coming back to social media, there is so much good stuff out there that you can take and learn from, and all these meditation groups, and just to really to get the best out of it, just of your own, like, your claim is be your best. So you can take your best out of there as well. So there is always this buffet that we have available, and we pick and choose what we want. I think if we want to be miserable, then we can choose that as well. But then we have to also make that decision to get out of that misery and go out and do things that are good for ourselves, would make us feel better.
Absolutely. So what's your plan for the rest of the day?
Actually, I'm going to go outside. Yeah, we're just going to go for a big walk today, and go maybe have some coffee someplace if there is anything open. See, but then just really do a hike, walk, and
Cool. So
enjoy the sun.
So I'm still waiting to hear from people who are watching, or if you're watching the replay, put in the comments down below. What are you doing to stay upbeat? Because I think this is something that we can all learn from each other. And then we also said that we were going to give a little bit of preview of what's to come. So we're publishing a new episode in the coming week, Peggy, right?
Yes.
What's it about?
Yeah, it's about jumping into the unknown.
It's kind of your story, isn't it?
Pardon?
Kind of your story, isn't it?
It's kind of my story of just sometimes doing something where you don't know what's going to happen and what you expect or what you can expect, but to take the opportunity and just do something that you've never experienced before. And it was a very, very exciting part of my life, and I'm so happy to share.
All right, so we got that coming on this week, and then 2 weeks from now, we're talking to somebody who is a public speaker and a coach.
Right.
And really talking about overcoming barriers and stuff, right?
Yes, that's a very interesting story about that. Yes.
So it's a couple good things.
Yeah.
And this last ask for all of you today. We would love to hear from you. What are the topics on your mind? What would you like to have an episode about? And then we'll go out and we'll find the expert to interview and get some knowledge coming in. So if you've got ideas, things that are on the top of your mind that you're kind of struggling with, or you'd like more information about how to do them effectively, put it in the comments down below. And we're going to take that to start planning some of the future episodes. We've got our own kind of timeline and list of topics, but it's really important to us to know what's important to you.
Sure. Yeah, that's very important for us. We're very interested to hear what's in there. What do you want to find out, or what are the topics that are important for you, that help you?
Yeah, exactly. So what experiences can we share that are going to help you feel more empowered?
Yes.
And enhance every day of your life and do something good for the people around you. So let us know. We're waiting to hear from you. And I think with that, we ought to wish everybody a happy Sunday.
Yes.
Or without a mimosa. Some of you might still be on your morning coffee. That's good too.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.